Alright, just a quick view of what I'm doing today on my truck. As you can see, I've got my airbags on the front. Got them aired up right now so I can get the clearance for the wheel to come out. Today I'm doing tire rotation, cleaning, and replacing my front brake pads. Now these are the CarQuest Wherever Gold semi-metallic ones. These are the next step down from ceramics, which was going to be somewhere in the ballpark of $50 for a set. And here's the part number, GMKD360. For whatever reason, these are made in India. I don't know about quality of parts or anything from there as far as that goes. But basically on the 93 and down version of the brake spindles, the brake pads are all the same from 92 to 96, but the way it changes is in the calipers. 92 and 93 and on down through the 80 to 93 model range, it uses 2 slide pins. And you have to keep these greased because what happens is they dry, and as you can see here, it allows the caliper to twist, and what will happen is it usually wears out the inside pad first. Now on the 94 and up models, if you can grab one of those and get the spindles and stuff set up out of it, it uses 2 13mm bolts just like the Chevrolet versions does. And personally I've had both, and the bolts are a little bit easier to deal with. You don't have to worry about pads wearing out prematurely or whatever. But as usual, you know, make sure you got a flat space to work with. As far as things go, make sure you've got your wheel scotched at least in 2 corners, diagonally. Lift your vehicle safely. Don't just pay attention to it. Don't let it get up so far and then tilt. And then once you get up to the height that you can take your wheels off, while you're away from the vehicle and everything's away, go ahead and give it a good firm shake. That way that if it's going to slide off, it's going to slide off without you under it. That's a big thing. I mean, this truck is 40-some hundred pounds, and I'm kind of squishy, so. But anyways, basically to change your pads, it's simple. Again, get your little routine down. You know, you got your truck jacked up, wheel off, just like I've got. New pads ready to go. And what you're going to do is take a hammer and push these slide pins out. You got one here, and you got one right here. Once those are pushed out, then you will need to push the plunger for the brake caliper in, so it pushes all the fluid from here back up, allows you to put the new pads on. Alright, now this is after I remove my caliper. Now I can do one thing with my truck that most people can't: lay the caliper on the ground. As you can see, I don't have any tension on my brake line there, because usually that's held up in place by a clip in that hole right there. Number one thing, tie it up with a zip tie, tie it up with mechanics wire, weed eater string, something. Don't let them hang by the hoses normally. In my case, I can. Now, couple things keep in mind. Keep up with your slide pins. These babies right here are what holds your caliper on. Now what I like to do is clean them thoroughly and then put a coating of grease on them so that they can actually slide back and forth the way they should. And like I said, just clean it up, pay attention, because this is just held on by rubber that's glued in between the 2 pieces. So And they're omnidirectional. They can go either way, up, down, left, and right. They're just the same pin. They just have these little retaining pegs that stick out there. Fingers, I guess you call them. Now, I got my old pads here for a little bit of show and tell. Outside pad, not too bad. I mean, it's definitely down to the wear guard, which is this little fella right here. I do notice cracking. That's one thing. It means heat. Heat got thin, cracked it. Now that's what these little things right here are, is when you check these, when it gets down, this part gets down to right here. Let me get me something here. When the top here gets down to the bottom of this groove right here, that's when you need to replace these. I've been needing to replace these for a while, but I got good service out of these. Whatever Advanced sales is their cheapest quality, I went up one notch. I tried cheapest quality before and it didn't work out for me. But yeah, you can see age because, well, the back of it fell off as I just turned it over there. And this one, same thing. It basically just disintegrated. You can see here it just falling apart. But yeah, something else, a point I was making, this would normally be up to the front here. And you can notice where the caliper was apparently turned at a angle like this, because notice how thin it is here versus how thick it is up here. Up here it would have still been almost within service. But now this was getting thin down here. I noticed when I would brake it would start shaking real bad. So go ahead and replace these. Everything goes back the way it came in. You do have one pad smaller than the other. Small pad goes inside, large pad goes outside, and if you don't know the difference, flip them over. Inside pad has this little piece right here. Outside pad does not. Now, as far as the little anti-rattle clips, mine haven't been on the truck since I've had the truck. They're not really necessary item, but if you're a stickler for those things, you can buy those separately. So there's that. And like again, check your pads before you put them on too. Make sure there ain't no cracks. I have gotten stuff before that check it when I first got it out of the box, and I'll be damned if the pads wasn't cracked. And speaking of cracks, you notice the heat fissure right there. I mean, it was starting to crack. It was starting to disintegrate, which meant failure, which meant I was not safe and everybody else wasn't. So again, it goes back together just like it came apart. Pull your wheel up, take you well, I use a screwdriver, but you shouldn't use that. You should use a drift or a punch, something to collapse these and press them together and let those little fingers slide inside. And use your hammer, peck it out, put your caliper to the side, take your pads off. Now, one thing you will need is a C-clamp to push the plunger back into the caliper so that it'll make room to allow these thicker pads to go back in place. But other than that, it's just a reversal of how you take it apart, tighten everything down good, and you're good to go.